Cynthia sat at her desk in the oil company's headquarters in Lagos, watching the numbers on her computer screen. 20 million naira. After several years of working as a human resource manager, she had finally saved enough money to change someone's life forever. That someone was Williams, the man she loved more than life itself. Williams was a struggling graduate who couldn't find good work in Nigeria. Every day he would come to Cynthia's small apartment in Ikeja, frustrated and angry about his situation. "Baby, I need to travel abroad," he would say, holding her hands. "America is where I can make something of myself. But you know I don't have money for visa, flight, or anything." Cynthia would smile and stroke his face gently. "Don't worry, my love. I'm working hard. Soon I will have enough money to send you to America. We will build our future together." For 3 years, Cynthia lived like a poor person even though she earned good money. She wore the same clothes over and over. She ate simple meals like rice and beans. She didn't buy new shoes or bags like her friends. Every kobo she earned went straight to her savings account. Williams was her dream and she was ready to sacrifice everything for him. Williams would kiss her and promise, "When I travel and make money in America, I will come back and marry you. You're my queen, Cynthia. I will never forget what you're doing for me." After several years of saving, Cynthia finally had enough money. She took Williams to the American embassy for his visa interview. She paid for everything: the visa fees, the medical tests, the flight ticket, and even gave him money to start his life in America. At the airport, Williams held her tight. "I love you, Cynthia. I will call you every day. In 2 years I will come back with plenty money and we will get married." Cynthia cried as she watched his plane disappear into the sky. But she was happy. She had sent her future husband to build their dreams. For the first 6 months, Williams called every day. He would tell her about his job as a security guard in Texas. He would say he missed her and couldn't wait to see her again. Cynthia lived for those phone calls. She would count the days until they would be together again. But slowly the calls became less frequent. Once a day became once a week. Once a week became once a month. When Cynthia called him, he would sound tired and say he was busy working. 1 year after Williams left, Cynthia's phone rang. It was Williams calling on video call. She was excited until she saw his face. He looked different, more serious, less loving. "Cynthia, we need to talk," he said. "What's wrong, baby? Are you okay?" she asked, worried. "I've been thinking a lot about us. This long-distance relationship is not working. I think we should break up." Cynthia felt like someone had poured cold water on her. "What? Williams, what are you saying? I sent you to America with my life savings. We're supposed to get married when you come back." "I'm sorry, Cynthia. But I've met someone else. Someone who understands my new life here in America. I think it's better if we go our separate ways." The video call ended. Cynthia stared at her phone screen, unable to believe what had just happened. The man she had sacrificed everything for had just thrown her away like garbage. He cried for 3 months straight. She couldn't eat properly. She lost weight. Her friends at work were worried about her, but she couldn't tell them the truth. How could she explain that she had used 20 million naira to send a man abroad only for him to dump her? Slowly, Cynthia began to heal. She threw herself into her work and tried to rebuild her savings. She also made a new friend at work, Juliet, a beautiful young lady who worked in the accounting department. Juliet was everything Cynthia was not. She was tall, light-skinned, with long natural hair and a perfect figure. Men in the office always tried to talk to her, but she was humble and kind. She never acted like she was better than anyone. "Cynthia," Juliet would say, "you're so strong and hardworking. I wish I could be like you." The two women became very close friends. They would eat lunch together, go shopping together, and share their dreams and fears. Juliet would often ask Cynthia for advice about life and relationships. "I had a boyfriend once," Cynthia told Juliet one day. "But he traveled abroad and left me. Men can be very wicked." "I'm sorry," Juliet said. "But don't worry. God will bless you with a good man who will appreciate you." 3 years later, Juliet came to work one morning with a big smile and a shiny ring on her finger. "Cynthia," she shouted excitedly, "I'm engaged." Cynthia was happy for her friend. "Congratulations. Who is the lucky man?" When did this happen? His name is Williams. He just came back from America where he was working for 3 years. He's so handsome and sweet. We met at a wedding in December, and yesterday he proposed to me. Cynthia's heart skipped a beat when she heard the name Williams, but she told herself there were many Williams in Nigeria. It couldn't be her Williams. That's wonderful news, Juliet. When is the wedding? In 2 months. And Cynthia, I have a special request. I want you to be my chief bridesmaid. You're my closest friend and I can't do this without you. Cynthia agreed immediately. She was happy that her friend had found love, and she wanted to support her in every way possible. For the next 6 weeks, Cynthia helped Juliet plan every detail of the wedding. They chose the venue, picked the decorations, selected the menu, and bought beautiful outfits. Cynthia used her own money to help make sure everything was perfect. Sister, your Williams is so lucky, Cynthia said one day while they were choosing flowers. I haven't met him yet, but he must be special to deserve someone like you. You'll love him, Juliet replied. He's handsome, intelligent, and he has big dreams. He wants to take me back to America with him after we get married. Something in Cynthia's heart felt uneasy, but she pushed the feeling away. She was probably just nervous about being a chief bridesmaid for the first time. The wedding was planned to hold at the Golden Tulip Hotel in Lagos. Williams had booked a room there for the night before the wedding. Juliet would stay with her family, and they would meet at the church the next morning. The night before the wedding, Cynthia went to the hotel to make sure everything was ready for the next day. She checked the decorations in the hall, confirmed the menu with the caterers, and made sure the music system was working properly. As she was walking through the hotel lobby, she saw a familiar figure sitting at the bar. Her heart stopped. It was Williams, her Williams. The same man she had sent to America with her life savings. The same man who had broken her heart over a video call. He was wearing an expensive designer cloth and looked much better than when he left Nigeria. His skin was brighter and he had gained some weight. Success in America had been good to him. For a moment, Cynthia couldn't move. She hid behind a pillar and watched him. He was talking on the phone, probably to someone in America. He looked happy and confident. Then the terrible truth hit her like lightning. This Williams, her ex-boyfriend, was the same Williams that Juliet was going to marry tomorrow. The man she had loved and sacrificed for was about to marry her best friend. Cynthia felt like the ground was shaking under her feet. She ran to the bathroom and vomited. Her hands were shaking as she tried to understand what was happening. Williams had come back to Nigeria, met beautiful Juliet, and decided to marry her. He had probably told Juliet that he made his money in America through hard work. He would never tell her about the woman who had sacrificed everything to send him there. Cynthia sat in her car in the hotel parking lot, crying and shaking with anger. All the pain and heartbreak she had buried for 2 years came flooding back. She remembered the nights she had eaten rice and beans while saving money for his trip. She remembered wearing the same clothes for months. She remembered how happy she had been when his visa was approved. And now he was going to marry her best friend, a woman who was more beautiful, younger, and probably more educated than her. Juliet would get the life that Cynthia had paid for with her own money and tears. Suddenly, she remembered something her grandmother had told her years ago before she died. If any man ever breaks your heart badly, the old woman had whispered, go to Baba Sango in Mushin. He has special powers that can help you get revenge. Cynthia had never believed in such things before, but tonight her pain was too much to bear. She started her car and drove through the dark streets of Lagos to Mushin. It was almost 10 p.m. when she found the small, dark house that people whispered about. Baba Sango was an old man with tribal marks on his face and cowrie shells around his neck. His room was filled with strange smells, bones, and bottles of different colored liquids. I know why you are here, he said before Cynthia could speak. A man has broken your heart. You want revenge. Yes, Baba, Cynthia said, tears flowing down her face. I gave him everything and he threw me away for another woman. They are getting married tomorrow and I want to stop it. Baba Sango nodded slowly. He went to a corner of the room and brought out a small black pouch tied with red string. This is a very powerful juju, he said. When you rub this powder on your skin and say the words I will teach you, You will turn into a snake. You will have the power to harm your enemy. But be careful, once you use it and the victim is harmed, there is no cure. Cynthia paid him and drove back to the hotel with the charm in her handbag, her heart pounding with fear and anger. Back at the hotel, Cynthia sat in her car until midnight, staring at the black pouch in her hands. She was scared, but her anger was stronger than her fear. She thought about William sleeping peacefully in his room, ready to marry Juliet tomorrow with money she had provided. He will not get away with this, she whispered to herself. She opened the pouch and rubbed the black powder on her arms, face and legs. Immediately she felt a strange tingling sensation all over her body. Her skin began to change, becoming rough and scaly. Her arms and legs started to shrink and merge together. Her face stretched forward and her tongue became long and forked. Within minutes, Cynthia had completely transformed into a large snake with black and green patterns on her skin. Her eyes glowed in the dark and she could taste the air with her flickering tongue. The snake that was once Cynthia slithered out of the car and moved through the hotel garden. She felt powerful and dangerous. All her human emotions, the pain, the heartbreak, the betrayal had turned into one simple desire to revenge. Her plan was simple. She would enter his room, bite him with her poisonous fangs and watch him die slowly. He would never make it to the wedding tomorrow. Juliet would be heartbroken, but at least she would not marry the man who had destroyed Cynthia's life. The snake reached William's door and slithered under the gap at the bottom. The room was dark and she could hear William sleeping peacefully on the bed. He had no idea that death was coming for him. She moved slowly across the floor, getting closer to the bed. She could smell his scent, the same smell she had loved when they were together. But now it made her angry. Williams woke up feeling thirsty. He reached for the light switch and turned on the bedside lamp. When the room lit up, he saw something that made him scream in terror. There was a huge snake on his floor just a few feet away from his bed. Its eyes were glowing and it was looking directly at him. "Help! Snake! Snake in my room!" Williams screamed at the top of his voice. He jumped on the bed and continued screaming. Other hotel guests heard him and began shouting as well. Soon the hotel security guards were running towards his room. The snake tried to escape, but it was too late. The security guards broke down the door and found William standing on his bed, shaking with fear. "Where is the snake?" one guard asked. Williams pointed to the corner of the room where the snake was coiled up, hissing angrily. "That's a very dangerous snake," another guard said. "How did it get into the hotel?" "The snake was beaten and until it became weak. It was captured with a net and put in a cage outside to be killed the next day." The next morning, as the sun began to rise, something strange happened. The snake they had put in a cage began to change back into human form. Right there in the cage where they had put her, Cynthia slowly transformed back into herself. The hotel staff and guests who witnessed this transformation screamed and ran away. They had never seen anything like it in their entire lives. "It's a witch," someone shouted. "She's a snake woman." Cynthia found herself sitting naked in a cage, confused and ashamed. She couldn't remember everything that had happened, but she knew she had tried to harm Williams. The hotel manager called the police and soon the news spread like wildfire. Within few hours, everyone in Lagos had heard the story. Juliet's family came to the hotel in shock. They couldn't believe that their daughter's chief bridesmaid was a snake woman who had tried to kill the groom. "Is it true that Williams is your ex-boyfriend?" Juliet asked Cynthia through tears. Cynthia, now wearing clothes that the hotel had provided, nodded shamefully. "Yes, Juliet. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was your fiancé until last night." "You sent him to America?" Juliet continued. "Yes. I used 15 million naira, all my savings." Juliet looked at Williams with disgust. "So you lied to me? You told me you made your money through hard work in America. But this woman sponsored your trip." Williams tried to explain himself. "Baby, that was in the past. I love you now, not her." But Juliet was too hurt and shocked. "The wedding is cancelled," she announced. "I cannot marry a man who is this wicked and dishonest. And I cannot trust anyone anymore." The wedding guests who had already arrived at the church were sent home. The food was given to poor people in the area. The beautiful decorations that Cynthia had helped to choose were packed away. Cynthia was arrested and charged with attempted murder and practicing witchcraft. The story became famous all over. People used her story as a lesson about what happens when love turns to hate. Williams tried to beg Juliet to forgive him, but she refused. "I loved you genuinely," she told him. "But you're a user. You used Cynthia's money and you wanted to use my beauty. I'm glad I found out before it was too late." Juliet left Lagos and moved to Abuja to start a new life. She never spoke to either Williams or Cynthia again. Williams was left with nothing. His family in Nigeria rejected him when they heard what he had done. His friends in America stopped talking to him when the story reached them through social media. Cynthia spent 2 years in prison. During this time she had a lot of time to think about her life and her choices. She realized that her love for Williams had turned into something evil and destructive. She wrote letters to Juliet, begging for forgiveness, but Juliet never replied. She also wrote to Williams not to ask for forgiveness, but to tell him how much pain he had caused. "You destroyed 2 women who loved you," she wrote. "I loved you with my whole heart and gave you everything I had. Juliet loved you genuinely and wanted to build a life with you. But your selfishness and dishonesty destroyed us all." In prison, Cynthia met other women who had been driven to do terrible things because of heartbreak and betrayal. She learned that she was not alone in her experience, but she was sorry for the way she had handled her pain. Did you enjoy the story? Please kindly share what you learned in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to get more interesting stories from us.